Welcome to Rediscover Locations with Sharona. If you like this channel and want to support it, please hit the notification bell as well as the like, subscribe and comment down below of anything that you would like to see. Thank you very much. Hello everyone. I am firstly going to be putting this out as a short, so if any of my regular viewers have seen this, I do apologize if you've heard this already. I will try and limit this to maybe, like, bearing in mind my videos are every 2 weeks, I probably will only do this for like the first sort of 2 or 3 videos, because you don't want to hear this every single time. But I am just going to put it out there. From now on, the way that my videos are going to be structured is, due to the fact this hasn't happened to me and it won't happen to me because I've taken this precaution, but I've been hearing the rise of the amount of people that have had phones snatched out of their hands when they've been, particularly in underground stations in London and whatnot. And as you know, I have usually been very, very detailed in showing, okay, I've gone from, say, this station to this station, then I've walked out, not through the underground itself, but walked out of the station, crossed over the road, and say showing you where the bus stop is. I'm no longer going to do that from now on. Instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to screenshot through from Google Maps, showing you, you know, go from this station to here and then take this bus or whatever, and then I will start my videos primarily from where the main location is. So going forward, that's the way my videos are going to work. Thank you very much. Hello everyone. I am going to say right from the get-go, because I don't think it's fair to traipse you around on a long video only to disappoint you. I am looking for 2 particular graves, as you can see from the title, but unfortunately, even though I knew the section that they were in, and you know, as you will see in this footage, really going around, I really was round there for quite a considerable amount of time. I didn't even film it all because seriously I could see how long it was taking and it would drag on forever. But did I unfortunately not find these graves? Sadly, no, I didn't. But I still want you to enjoy this video if, for example, you just love wandering around a cemetery, but more importantly, a magnificent cemetery, which is Kensel Green. So that's the first thing I wanted to state right from the get-go. Secondly, as you can see from the titles, but I don't know if you recognize the names or not, the graves that I was looking for, and I will also state, I do have photographs of what these graves look like, and I'm going to go into the backstory of these graves and them, of course. So please carry on with me. But these are actually the sons of Dido Elizabeth Belle. Now, if anyone's been with me for quite a while, you may recall when I did the West Norwood Magnificent Seven Cemetery, that was when I told you the entire story of Dido Belle, a mixed race British woman of great standing from the 17 or the 1800s it was. So go back to watch that video if you really want extensive history, because it's all listed there, unless you've already watched that video and you know it already. But the thing is, there's been a lot of but a lot of difficulty about her son's graves. And let's put it this way, as soon as I found where she was, I wanted to find where her kids were and that, but unfortunately I had a lot of trouble. And then I finally came across an article that I want to reference to you here on the internet of a gentleman that also wanted to find them. But the difference is, after going through a lot of records that weren't actually in the right cemetery and traipsing about, he found them manually. So I'm going to read some of what he has stated about these graves to you and all sorts. Thank you very much. After establishing early in my research that Dido Elizabeth Belle, Britain's first mixed-race aristocrat, was buried in St George's Field burial ground, this is me interjecting here. That is technically true, because if you may remember watching my video, that is where she was buried originally, but she's not actually buried there anymore. She's actually in West Norwood. So before you wonder or ask, I will try and get in touch with this gentleman to correct him on that, as well as maybe trying to find, any more info about how to find these graves again in the future. Carrying on what he wrote. I next focused my attention on her two sons, Charles and William Thomas, whose twin John died in infancy and was also probably buried in St George's Field. I started my search back in February of 2016, and this is dated 2020. Finding Charles William Thomas was not an easy feat, as I thought it would be. Having contacted most of the cemeteries in Greater London, started with Brampton Cemetery, where so many of the famous graves are buried, and that we've been to that cemetery as well, guys. Were buried nearby, and that it was the same story in Highgate and others. I even eventually fell upon Kensel Green Cemetery in North London as a possible, because of them living nearby. Charles in Notting Hill and William Thomas in Paddington, which both stayed within the area of for most of where they lived. They married, had children, lived and died in these boroughs, but they did also travel. My first call to the cemetery bore fruit, as they were able to locate the grave of William Thomas on their register and gave me those details over the phone. Whilst asking for my findings on his brother Charles or any other family members, "No, I'm sorry, we can't find anyone else listed here," I was told. Odd, perplexed, I thanked them for their help. I continued my search for Charles and his family, looking elsewhere I could think of, but no joy, and getting frustrated when I came across $1billiongrave.com, an image of a grave with a marble cross above it, and it was written below, Charles George Daviniere, buried in Kensal Green Cemetery, died 16th of January 1899. I knew that this was Dido's grandson from his twin son, Charles. Eureka! I cried, as I almost felt I was as if William Thomas was buried there. His older brother Charles would be too, so quickly I grabbed the phone and called the cemetery to find. Even with the call, they could not find the list straight away. I even mentioned the site that I had found the details on. They suggested I leave it with them, and they would email me their findings and a reference if they could hang any sign of hope. A day later, I was emailed the information I wanted, and again I reached for the phone to call Kensal Green Cemetery, but this time I had the contact name who I was dealing with my inquiry. I explained that I was puzzled that there was no sign of Charles, Dido's son, and could they please check again. And still, even after they had not confirmed Charles Dillinger, who died the 24th of January 1894, was actually in the cemetery, I gave his title as Lieutenant Colonel. Still no joy. At least I have two family members now. So the next thing was to visit, I thought. Absolutely. I had contacted the friends of Kensal Green, who were able to pinpoint the exact location for from his experience of the site as a whole. There are thousands of graves that are entwined just in the area I was going to visit, let alone the whole cemetery as a whole. Without this knowledge, the find would have been a lot longer, believe me, needle in a haystack. Well, if you're still with me at this point, guys, you can see where I had the same trouble. The first grave I found was in sections 66 and 67, and it was William Thomas, Dido's last child, who I was able to establish then and there was born on the 17th of December 1800. I thought at the time what a lovely Christmas present Dido got that year, and just a week before the big event, a baby. The grave is a ledger, I think that's called, a flat stone that covers the burial site that is made of pink granite. Very expensive for the time. It was deeply engraved, a difficult job in those days, where all the family members were inscribed. And that there were several family members on there, guys. This is getting quite long, so I won't read the rest of it. And finally, another relative, William Charles Graham, nephew of William, was also buried on that cemetery, on that headstone. A tree behind the first headstone is tall and could be planted there at the time of the final burial. Worth noting is the condition of the flat headstone today, given that it had been in sight where it had been for 153 years this September. You would think it would only have been there for 10 years maximum with the weathering. Having visited that grave, I made my way to Charles George, bearing in mind that it was a blustery early March day in 2016, so not the best day for lingering around, quite cold too, with parts of the cemetery waterlogged. That's the last of the article that I'm going to read, guys, because I do see the length of how long I've been talking over this. So just to let you know, he does find the other grave. It's literally just behind the first grave that he found. And that literally it's right like behind or in front. I can't remember exactly. But after that, he amended the records with Kensel Green, and he is also in charge of he does pay to maintain those headstones because he did think that they weren't looking their best. So, and that if you want, unfortunately I can't give you timestamps on my videos because I haven't got enough subscribers for that. But if you want to see the actual headstones and you don't want to see the rest of Kensal Green and all its beautiful scenery and me traipsing about, fast forward to the end. Yes, in this case you have got my permission because we have gone round Kensal Green once before, although I am in a completely different section to my other videos, so at least that's a different bit for you to look at. Look down to the end and I will show, and I've got photographs that he posted online of those actual graves. And once again, like I said, if you want to know all the history of Dido and her family, go and find my Dido Elizabeth Belle West Norwood grave. So now, enjoy all the scenery and all the beautiful birds and everything. Thank you very much. Hey everyone, interjecting really quickly with this still photo of me. I thought I had remembered this, but unfortunately, as you could have seen, and as I said to you at the beginning, and that unfortunately I didn't find those graves, but most of all I have been traipsing around there, and the ground was really uneven. My feet were really bad, as you could hear it in my voice. I was really just so I didn't end the video and that. So of course from then I just made my way back from the direction that I came in. So from me, I'm going to sign off now, and now I'm going to cut over to the photographs of those actual graves and everything, and more background information. So from me, Sharona, thank you very much.